the things that you're really drawn to. When you look at your passion map, you can say, gee, are there any themes that I see here? So you keep your passion map out and you start to you look for themes, you look for clues. And then here's the important thing. When you find something that you might want to pursue, you give yourself permission to pursue it without it having to be the last thing you do in your life. You see, that's the other thing we do. We have to work really hard, we have to figure it out, we have to cross the T's and dot the I's, and then we pick that one thing and then we are destined to just do that one thing forever. It's sort of like a prison sentence. Right? Yeah. Instead, give yourself permission to try something. Best way to try it is you decide, you're lucky you had a business. You're smart. You know how to make things happen. You can choose, after you do some exploring, by the way, in terms of the exploring, what are the movies you feel passionate about? Want to know a really cool way to figure out something you feel passionate about? Go out and buy some music from your high school years, like maybe 14, 15, all the way up to 18, get that music and listen to it. I am telling you, it will connect you to something you feel passionate about. Unless, of course, it's an old boyfriend or girlfriend, one of those sappy love songs. But really, I remember doing that in my own life. I went back and what I discovered, right around, and studies show that for girls in particular, right around the ages of 9 through 13 is when they're empowered and they've got ideas about what they want to do with their life. And when you link that to the music that you're listening to, often those memories come back. When I went back then and I listened to that music, I won't tell you the music I listened to, because my mom and dad are here, but when I went back and listened to that music, I was surprised to see I had a very strong political bent. I wanted to change the world. I had this, it was connected to something I felt passionate about. What are the movies that you're drawn to? What are the movies you've seen more than once? There are clues there. Once you decide, once you choose something that you feel passionate about, then all you need to do is something very simple. And that is you decide, okay, I think I'm passionate about, hot air ballooning. Then you gather a group of friends together and you ask them to brainstorm for you about how you might go about becoming a hot air balloon person. Now, as goofy as that sounds, you would be amazed at what people come up with when you ask them to come together and brainstorm for you. What you'll have is an instant action plan. Gee, I think I want to start my own business. I might want to be an interior designer. Great. Get a group of people together, brainstorm, write down everything they tell you, then choose the top 5 actions that seem to make sense to you and give it a try. Give yourself permission to try it for 3 to 6 months before you decide whether or not it's for you. This is what we need to do. We need to give ourselves permission instead of getting ourselves in a box. I remember one time Robert Bly, the poet, he and I were speaking at some event together, and I was listening to him talk. I remember he said, it's really dumb what we do to kids. He said, we get them out of high school at 17 or 18, then we go ahead and we expect them to make decisions about the rest of their lives. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do about anything when I was 17 or 18, he says. He goes, here's how I think it needs to be done. I think when they get out of high school, they ought to be free to, roam the world. Go be a bike messenger in Manhattan. Go to London and do something else. Travel around the world. Try lots of different things. Everything you possibly could. And then when you get to be about 35, then it's time to choose what you might want to pursue in college. Doesn't that make sense? Think about this, my friends. How crazy is it that we take kids, they are kids when they're 17 and 18, and we ask them to make a choice that will cost at least $100,000. And 4 years of their life and probably 24 years of yours. It's crazy. That's why a lot of times when I'm talking with parents, I say to them, your kids are not going to be able to figure out their passion at 18. Give them permission to explore. We have so much shame around not knowing what it is we want to do. I wish back when I wasn't sure, when I left my family's business, and I floundered for a few years because I didn't know what to call my business. And I remember there were times where I felt enormous shame, like, I should be a lawyer, or I should be a doctor, or I should be this or that, as if there was something wrong with me because I wasn't a something. I wish I could have gone back to that time and I would have said, Cheryl, honey, just relax. Take your time. Explore a whole bunch of things. It's okay if you try something and it doesn't work. Try something else. That's how we connect with what we're passionate about. I remember there was a woman in a workshop that I did in Denver where we were talking about passion, and she stood up and said, well, I'm passionate about skiing. I want to be a ski instructor. And I said, okay, great. Well, what's getting in the way? Well, I'm too old. Yeah, like that's going to work with me. So we did some brainstorming for her. And it was great. People came up with ideas like, create a skiing class for chickens. Or create a ski school for baby boomers, over-the-hill baby boomers, or something like that. And this woman, as she got these ideas and she listened to people brainstorm for her, she realized, oh my goodness, I think I might be able to do this. And it was wonderful because halfway through while I was writing Stand Up For Your Life, I was writing about passion and the steps that you take in order to pursue your passion. I was writing about this brainstorming exercise, and didn't I get an email from her saying, you know what, I finally did it. I went out and said, even if I fail, so I fail. What's the big deal? I went out and I applied at places, and 2 ski places hired her to become ski instructors. 2 people offered her jobs, and she took one. And she said, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. Who knows? But for right now, I'm having one hell of a time. Is that helpful? Are you going to give yourself permission to explore? Could you convince me? Yes. And do you have any friends here that might support you in doing that? There they are. Okay, great. Don't let her off the hook, please. And don't let her make a decision too soon. Too often we want to just squash our dreams. That's what life is about. I wish I could remember the great little quote, do what excites you. Please, when I hear things like, I want to do what I really love, but I can't afford it, who told you that? I love the fact that one of the things my mother instilled in me is this maverick nature that says, please tell me it can't be done, because I will work very hard to prove you wrong. And that's what we all need. When it comes to our passion, we need to be willing to just do whatever it takes, because your life is worth it. So you can create abundance in all areas of your life. If you're feeling insecure in your life, it's not just about money. It's not just about a lack of passion. It's about needing to create abundance in all areas. An abundance of personal power, an abundance of community, an abundance of money. Can you see how the link between money and support? An abundance of both is what's going to make you feel better. An abundance of knowledge and permission to explore and the support of others is what's going to create an abundant life. Abundance is your birthright. And I know that the amount of abundance available to each and every one of you is limitless. The only thing standing in between you and all that you want is action. It always comes down to doing something differently. Take action on your dreams. Take action on your finances. What one thing are you going to do when you leave here that will allow you to create abundance, financial abundance, an abundance of time, an abundance of energy? Get those energy drains eliminated. It will affect all areas of your life. And an abundance of passion. Takes one step, my friends, that's all it takes. Thank you.
Coming up next, a special bonus segment. Learn about the magic that can happen in your life when you take the steps to put your passion into action.
Remember earlier I talked about how it's very easy for us to discount or dismiss the things that we feel passionate about that we'd like to pursue in our life because we're afraid that we can't make money doing that, or that we don't have what it takes to do it, or that doors won't open, especially for the things that are so important to us. Well, I'm here to tell you that when you decide on pursuing something you feel passionate about, it is amazing the doors that start opening for you. When you decide to pursue those things that you feel passionate about, doors will start to open for you. You just need to have that expectation. I remember back when I was first writing Take Time for Your Life, and I was clueless about whether or not I could write. I had no idea whether or not anybody would ever want to publish what I was doing. All I knew was that I felt passionate about writing. I'd been doing it for years, and I used to have this dream in my head when I was young that someday I'd be a writer. And when I decided to write Take Time for Your Life, I remember I sat down and I started working on the book proposal, which I hated every minute of it. It's so hard. That's the hard part of writing a book. Because you're essentially taking what you feel passionate about and crafting it into some kind of linear form that makes sense. And I spent 6 months working on the proposal. And when the proposal was done, I sat there at my desk and I thought, now what do I do? I don't even know if I can write. I don't even know if it's a good idea. I don't even know if I did the proposal in the right way, but something kept me moving forward, thank God. And so, in that moment when I was unsure about what to do, I did what I often do. I got up out of my chair, I stood in the middle of my office, and I said, okay, God, if you want me to write this book, then you need to tell me what to do, and you have to tell me within the next 24 hours. I figure, hey, what the heck, let's get really specific with God, too, right? And a few minutes later, this woman's name popped into my head, out of the blue. It's a woman I had met several months earlier who was in publishing. And I thought, well, I need to act on this, right? I'm not going to just listen to the message. I'm going to do something about it. Let's see if this is the right thing. And I picked up the phone, and I called this woman. Her name was Maggie, and Maggie knows me. And I said, Maggie, hi, this is Cheryl Richardson. And I just finished my book proposal, and I have no idea what to do next. And, well, I stood in my office, and I asked God what to do, and he told me to call you. And Maggie, knowing me, chuckled and said, okay, well, tell me about what's going on. And I said, well, you know, I've worked on this for 6 months. I don't know if I can write. I don't know if it's a good idea. But something tells me this book really needs to be out there. And she said, you know, it's funny you would call. Love that line. That's a clue. Funny you would call. Just yesterday, I had lunch with a woman that's just moved to the neighborhood, and she used to be in publishing. And wouldn't you know, during lunch, she happened to bring up an article about you that she had just read in a magazine. This is the first article that had ever been written about me. This was many years ago. And she was very interested in your work as a coach. She was talking about it. You might want to give her a call and see if she would be willing to take a look at your proposal. So I said, okay, fine. What's her name? Gives me your name and number. So I pick up the phone, and I'm kind of shaking a little bit, but I don't know what kind of publishing she's done. So I pick up the phone, and I call her, and I say, Marilyn, hi, my name's Cheryl Richardson. I got your name from Maggie. I didn't say the God part because she didn't know me well enough yet. I got your name from Maggie. I've just finished a book proposal about a book that I think is really important right now, and I have no idea if I can write, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to look at it. And she said, oh, well, I just read an article about you. Gee, I'm very interested in what you're doing. Sure, I'd be happy to look at it. And I said to her, well, let me ask you a question first. This is where I got kind of like in my professional voice. So, well, what kind of publishing have you done? Trying to be cool. She said, I used to be the editor-in-chief of such and such publishing, which is a very well-known publishing house. And I said, oh, really? Okay. But my naivete did not stop there, my friends. I then said to her, well, but have you ever edited anyone in my genre? I did. And she said, well, let me give you an idea. And this woman went to just rattle off the top 5 names in my field that she had worked with. Best-selling books. And then my knees started shaking. I said, oh, well, I don't know if it's really that good. She said, oh, let me take a look at it. And I went, okay, fine. I hung up the phone thinking, am I out of my mind? I'm going to let this woman look at it? Put it in an envelope. Sent it off to her, and literally for 1 week I waited, because you know, those things that we feel most passionate about, the things that are so important to us, are usually the things we also feel most vulnerable about. They're delicate. You know, we have to take really good care of them. And too often, we turn to people who are just ready to tell us why something won't work. Which is why I always say, do not go to the hardware store for milk. So a week went by, and suddenly I get a phone call from Marilyn, and I'll never forget the day that I picked up that phone. I was standing by the window in my office, and I had it next to me, and I was literally shaking, because quite honestly, my friends, at that point I knew that if she said to me, you know, I'm not sure you really can write, I would have maybe put down my keyboard and never touched it again for a very long time. That's how vulnerable I felt. So I picked up the phone and I said, yes? And she said, Cheryl, I just finished looking at your proposal. Uh-huh. What do you think? Well, first of all, my dear, I just want you to know, yes, you can write. I literally started to cry. I was embarrassed, and tears just like burst right to my eyes. I said, "Really? I can?" He said, "Yes, you can. And I think you have a really great idea here, and I'd love to help you bring it to light." Now, what started as a commitment to something that I felt passionate about turned into a simple request for help. And from that request came the phone call that led me to Marilyn. Now, I will tell you that Marilyn Abraham is the guardian angel who has stood by me through all 3 of my books. And if it wasn't for her, I'm not sure they would have ever been written. She was a strong inner ally on my shoulder, especially at the times when I was most afraid. But you see, this is what happens. When you decide to pursue your passion, when you decide to pick something up, forget about this, why it won't work and how you can't afford it and how you're too young or you're too old. Forget all of that. Simply open your mouth, ask for guidance, pay attention to what you hear, and then make sure you take that next step. Because I know in the deepest part of my being that there is a divine power that will absolutely support your dreams. I know it. They're just waiting to hear from you. So please, pick the passion, ask the question, and then act. Thank you very much.